Chapter 12 of Jewish Children by Sholem Aleichem. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Jewish Children, Yudishe Kinder by Sholem Aleichem, translated by Hannah Berman, and read by Adrian Pretzelis. Chapter 12. The Dead Citron. My name is Lieb. When I am called up to read the portion of the law, it is by the name of Yehuda Lieb. At home I sign myself Leif Moskowitz. Among the Germans I am known as Herr Leon. Here in England I am Mr. Leon. When I was a child I was called Liebel. At Cheder I was Lieb Drieb Obderik. You must know that at our Cheder every boy has a nickname. For instance, Mottel Kapottel, Maya Dryer, Mendel Fendel, Chaim Clayim, Ipzit Chipzig, Beryl Zap. Did you ever hear such rhymes? That Itzik rhymes with Shipzik, and Mendel with Fendel, and Chaim with Clayim is correct. But what has Beryl to do with Zap? Or how does Lieb rhyme with Obderik? I did not like my nickname, and I fought against it. I got blows and thumps and smacks and whacks and pinches and kicks from all sides. I was black and blue. Because I was the smallest in the Cheder, the smallest and the weakest and the poorest, no one defended me. On the contrary, the two rich boys tortured me. One got on top of me and the other pulled at me by the ear, whilst the third, a poor boy, sang a song to tease me. Just so, give it to him, punch him, bang him, his little limbs, just so, just so. At such times I lay quiet as a kitten, and when they let me go I went into a corner and wept silently. I wiped my eyes, went back to my comrades, and all was right again. Just a word, whenever you meet the name Liebel in the story, you will know it refers to me. I am soft as down, short and fat. In reality I am not so fat as I look. On the contrary, I am rather bony, but I wear thick wadded little trousers, a thick wadded vest, and a thick wadded coat. You see, my mother wants me to be warm. She is afraid I might catch cold, God forbid, and she wraps me in cotton wool from head to foot. She believes that cotton wool is very good to wrap a boy in, and must not be used for making balls. I provided all the boys with cotton wool. I pulled it out of my trousers and coats until she caught me. She'd beat me and whacked me and thumped me and pinched me. But Liebel went on doing what he liked, distributing cotton wool. My face is red, my cheeks rather blue, and my nose always running. "Such a nose!" cries my mother. "If he had no nose he would be all right. He would have nothing to freeze in the cold weather." I often try to picture to myself what would happen if I had no nose at all. If people had no noses, what would they look like? Then the question is... But I was going to tell you the story of a dead citron, and I have wandered off to goodness knows where. I will break off in the middle of what I was saying and go back to the story of the dead citron. My father, Moshe Yankel, has been a clerk at an insurance company's office for many years. He gets 5.5 rubles a week. He is waiting for a rise in wages. He says that if he gets his rise this year, please God, he will buy a citron. But my mother, Bassi Bella, has no faith in this. She says the barracks will fall down before father will get a rise. One day, shortly before the New Year, Liebel overheard the following conversation between his father and his mother. He: "Though the world turn upside down, I must have a citron this year." She: "The world will not turn upside down, and you will have no citron." He: "That's what you say. But supposing I have already been promised something towards a citron?" She: "It will have to be written into the books of jests. In the month called after the town of Kremenitz a miracle happened. A bear died in the forest,
But what then? If I do not believe it, I shall not be a great heretic either.
He: You may believe it or not. I tell you that this Feast of Tabernacles we shall have a citron of her own.
She: O main, may it be so, from your mouth into God's ears. O main, repeated Leibel in his heart, and he pictured to himself his father coming into the synagogue like a respectable householder, with his own citron and his own palm branch. And though Moshe Yankel is only a clerk, still when the men walk around the ark with their palms and their citrons, he will follow them with his palm and citron. And Leibel's heart was full of joy. When he came to Cheder, he at once told everyone that this year his father would have his own palm and citron, but no one believed him. "What do you say to his father?" asked the young scamps of one another. "Such a man, such a beggar amongst beggars, desires to have a citron of his own. He must imagine it is a lemon or a Groshen apple." That is what the young scamps said, and they gave Leibel a few good smacks and thumps and punches and digs and pushes, and Leibel began to believe that his father was a beggar amongst beggars, and a beggar must have no desires. But how great was his surprise when he came home and found Reb Hensel sitting at the table in his Napoleonic cap facing his father. In front of them stood a box full of citrons, the beautiful perfume of which reached the furthest corners of the house. The cap which Reb Hensel wore was the sort of cap worn in the time of Napoleon I. Over there in France these caps were long out of fashion, but in our village there was still one to be found, only one, and it belonged to Reb Hensel. The cap was long and narrow. It had a slit and a button in front, and at the back 2 tassels. I always wanted these tassels. If the cap had fallen into my hands for 2 minutes, only 2, the tassels would have been mine. Reb Hensel had spread out his whole stock in trade. He took up a citron with his 2 fingers and gave it to father to examine. "Take this citron, Reb Moshe Yankel. You will enjoy it." "A good one?" asked my father, examining the citron on all sides as one might examine a diamond. His hands trembled with joy. "And what a good one!" replied Reb Hensel. The tassels of his cap shook with his laughter. Moshe Yankel played with the citron, smelled it, and could not take his eyes off it. He called over his wife to him and showed her with a happy smile the citron, as if he were showing her a precious jewel, a priceless gem, a rare antique, or an only child, a dear one. Bassibella drew near and put out her hand slowly to take hold of the citron, but she did not get it. "Be careful with your hands, a sniff if you like." Bassibella was satisfied with a sniff of the citron. I was not even allowed to sniff it. I was not even allowed to go near it, or even to look at it. "He is here too," said my mother. "Only let him go near it, and he will at once bite the top off the citron." "The Lord forbid!" cried my father. "The Lord preserve us!" echoed Reb Hensel, and the tassels shook again. He gave father some cotton wool into which he might nest the citron. The beautiful perfume spread into every corner of the house. The citron was wrapped up as carefully as if it had been a diamond or a precious gem, and it was placed in a beautiful round, carved, painted and decorated wooden sugar box. The sugar was taken out and the citron was put in instead, like a beloved guest. "Welcome thou art, Reb Citron, into the box, into the box." The box was carefully closed and placed in the glass cupboard. The door was closed over on it, and goodbye. "I am afraid the heathen," that was meant for me, "will open the door, take out the citron, and bite its top off," said my mother. She took me by the hand and drew me away from the cupboard. Like a cat that has smelt butter and jumps down from a height for it, straightens her back, goes round and round, rubbing herself against